Welcome everyone. In this video we're going to be sharing 10 ways that you can accelerate the process of your own awakening or ascension process. Basically we want to help you to more easily step into these really beautiful new consciousness energies, and by offering you these 10 transformational tips we want to do our very best to speed up your own transformation process and your own ascension process. So we've got quite a bit to get through. So let's get into it. So far in this little video series about this massive shift in consciousness, we've been talking about all of the different aspects or elements to this collective shift in our energetic vibration. And so here in this fourth and final part, we really just want to finish this little series here by giving you lots and lots of practical ways that you can start stepping into this new consciousness vibration so that you can awaken or ascend more quickly and easily. So we're not going to go through these tips in any particular order. For us, each of these tips can be very beneficial. So let's get straight into them now, starting with tip number 1. In many different spiritual teachings or traditions, getting to know yourself is often described as being one of the most important aspects of self-realization. So, for example, if we can get to know the types of thoughts or emotions or beliefs that we're having, and we can do this on a regular basis, then this understanding or knowledge can really be extremely helpful and beneficial for our journey forwards. Now, in the previous 3 parts of this video series, we've actually talked quite a lot about the types of energies that we're stepping out of at the moment, and the types of energies that we're starting to step into as a collective. And as part of that, we said that from an emotional perspective, we're starting to step out of emotional states like fear and anger, frustration or worry and hatred, and we're starting to step into emotions like love and joy and compassion and peace. And we've also mentioned that right now we're moving through a very significant transition phase, and so that everyone is going to be very naturally fluctuating between the old energies and the new energies as this transition period continues to play out. And of course we're going to be spending different amounts of time in those different emotional states, and this is all going to be dependent on our own choices, our intentions, our beliefs, and our karmic or vibrational circumstances. And we've also said that right now really is a fantastic time to get to know yourself, because by doing this kind of work at the moment, it really can help you to evolve in very powerful ways. So let's just talk a little bit more about what we mean by this. Basically, when you become more aware of how you're choosing to spend your time vibrationally, it's going to help us speed up or accelerate this transition process, because really awareness is normally the first step in the healing process. So for example, if you can start to become aware of the types of emotions or energies that you're spending your time in each day, and if you can get to become more aware of the kinds of activities that are putting you into those states of energetic vibration, then this can mean that you can now start to make more conscious choices and choose to do things that help to keep you in a sort of higher vibratory state of being. So just to give you an example, let's say you've noticed that you're spending quite a bit of time in emotional states like fear or anger. And you've noticed that the kind of media you're watching is perhaps contributing to that. In that case, a good first step can be just to reduce the amount of exposure to that kind of media. Also, you might like to look into some techniques that can help you to transmute that fear or anger and just allow yourself to slowly let go and release those emotions or feelings layer by layer. Also, as you're identifying this emotion or feeling arising within you, you might like to do some self-inquiry work as you just lovingly ask or inquire what lies beneath that emotional state or feeling. Does it feel like that emotion's being driven by some kind of limiting belief? Maybe something like I am not worthy, or I'm not loved, or I'm not deserving in some way. So again, now really is the perfect time to get to know yourself, get to know your inner workings. And we would just say that whenever you're feeling anything heavy or dense within yourself, this can be a really good time to observe your inner world. Alternatively, you can observe the outer world and start to become more aware of the types of activities or things that are sparking emotional responses or reactions from you. Are you noticing any patterns emerging? And again, just having awareness about those different types of things really can be a very powerful step forwards. And just one final point we wanted to make here is when we get to know ourselves on a grander scale, it means that we're starting to become more aware that we're just so much more than a physical body. We really are a divine source, co-creator being who's just living out a temporary human experience. And so this idea of getting to know oneself, it can also start to include the process of stepping into our own inherently divine nature as we begin to understand really just how magnificent and powerful we really are. So in part 2 of this little video series, we talked quite extensively about just how much energetic assistance there is at the moment from just so many different higher consciousness beings. And we also spoke about the impact that all of this new love and light is starting to have on the world. And then in part 3, we did a bit of a deep dive into the actual process of awakening. And we talked about the kinds of things that you can expect to move through as you continue to ascend or awaken on your journey. So all of this can hopefully help you to understand that the ascension process doesn't have to be something that you feel like you're needing to do all by yourself. Because once we understand just how much assistance there is from higher consciousness, and once we understand that we can actually call on these energies anytime we wish, then the ascension process can often feel like more of a supportive and collective journey rather than something that we need to do all on our own. So in the previous videos, we've used the Love Inspiration teachings as an example of this because there really are lots and lots of different attunements and teachings and energies being offered from higher consciousness beings. And all of these are designed to help speed up the continuing process of ascension and awakening. And of course, in addition to the Love Inspiration offerings, there's also lots of different channels and mediums and spiritual teachers who are also offering many kinds of divinely uplifting information and tips and techniques. And to us, this really is one of the best things about the whole shift in consciousness phenomena. It really is a collective shift in our energetic vibration, and we're all playing our own divinely unique role. So we're all going to be helping one another, we're all going to be sharing our own unique divine skills and gifts with one another, and we're all going to be acting as divine channels, which helps to channel through those higher vibrations of love and light and peace into the collective consciousness here on Earth. And as one final point here, we also wanted to say that everyone is receiving higher consciousness assistance and blessings and energies on their journey. Whether you know it or not, there really are so many things happening behind the scenes. And so again, we would just say that there really is so much higher consciousness energies and assistance that's being shared with all of us during this shifting consciousness phenomena. Okay, so almost every spiritual or religious tradition agrees that some kind of regular connection or practice is quite important. Now, in the modern world, we understand that many people are super busy. Many of us have lots of different things that we need to do in order to live out our life. But if you're someone who wants to speed up your ascension or awakening process, then something that's going to be really important and can help with that is to do some kind of regular practice. And in this context, when we say regular practice, we're basically talking about dedicating some time each day where you just give yourself some sacred time of connection and where you can just tune in with yourself, just see how things are going for you. So, for example, if you can get into a routine of maybe doing something when you first wake up, or maybe doing something before you go to bed at night, or maybe both, and you can start creating a habit or a routine out of this, then this is something that's going to help you very significantly as you move through this awakening process. Now, what you actually do during that practice, that really depends on you and how you feel. So there's lots and lots of different techniques or practices that you can choose from. And when you're choosing a practice, we would just recommend that you choose something that feels right for you in your heart. We would also suggest that any good practice is going to be something that can help you to feel vibrationally uplifted in some way, whether that's feeling more positivity or more happiness or peace or love or joy and so on. So basically, when we do a regular practice, it gives us the ability to cultivate and really connect in with those higher vibrational feelings whilst we're in a peaceful and quiet environment. And then as we become more acquainted with those types of feelings, we can then start to take those feelings or energetic states into our day-to-day life a little bit more. And when you're tuning in with yourself, there's going to be times when you become aware of something that maybe feels out of alignment to you in that moment. So just as an example, you might notice that you're feeling some kind of heavy or dense feeling or emotion. And in those situations, your daily practice can often be a nice time just to explore that a little bit more and try to get to the bottom of what lies beneath those. Maybe you want to open yourself up to healing that, maybe how opening up to a higher consciousness vibrations and healing energies. And in this way, your practice really can help to uplift you vibrationally whilst helping you to become aware of what might be triggering that feeling or emotion. And maybe it can help you to gain some insights about your own inner workings a little bit more. And of course, this all takes time. So it's best to approach your practice with some patience. Just knowing that self-transformation is something that can often take many, many months and years rather than days. Now, for us personally, we just wanted to add here that our preference at the moment is to do higher consciousness-based healing work. We like to do this on a daily basis in order to help uplift and improve our overall vibration or consciousness. And that basically has become our daily practice now for many years. We personally like this style of meditation or connection or practice because we really enjoy the process of merging with these very high and elevated and pure energies, which we feel like helps to uplift our own energetic vibration in a very peaceful and loving way. But of course, we understand that everyone is very different. We all have our own personal preferences and purposes for being here on Earth. And so again, what you choose to focus on during your own practice, that really is up to you. Most importantly, your practice is a time when you just set aside some sacred time with yourself and enjoy feeling connected and peaceful. It's a time of healing and releasing and just moving to a deeper understanding about your own divine nature as you tune into yourself, listen, and just receive what you need in that moment. Okay, so another really important tip that can help you to transform and blossom more quickly is to always do your best to follow your heart. So this is something that you can do as you're going about your day. It's a very simple approach, but there's just so many different benefits that can come from this as well. There's also lots of different ways that you can approach this as well in your life. But the general idea here is that we're just trying our best to listen to our heart, and then we're just doing what we can to do what feels right for us. So we can also think about this as following our intuition. Some people talk about this as listening to their inner voice, while others might talk about it as listening to their gut feeling. And so we'd include all of those under the same general category as following your heart. So Basically, when we follow our heart or we pay attention to our inner feelings more and more as we're going about our day, it really just helps us to stay in that flow of divine guidance. And in this context, divine guidance includes guidance from our higher self, our spirit team, and a variety of other higher consciousness beings as well. So in this way, we can think of our inner feelings as being like the language of divine guidance, or the language of our own higher self, the language it uses to communicate with us. And so when we listen to those inner feelings and we do what feels right in our heart, we're basically allowing ourselves to live more in alignment with this higher guidance, noting again that this guidance is here to help us learn and grow and evolve in the highest possible way. And so for those who are interested in really connecting more with this idea of living from the heart and really starting to tune into this divine guidance more deeply, there's again quite a few different ways you can approach this kind of practice. We know that for many people in the Love Inspiration community, maybe those who have already started moving through our free higher consciousness-based healing courses, maybe learning something like Reiki, for example. As part of the Reiki teachings, there's actually quite a strong emphasis placed on using your intuition and opening up to divine guidance as you're going about your practice. So maybe something like Reiki is a good way to start feeling this connection, connecting more with that idea of divine guidance in your life. So it could definitely be a good place to start for anyone who's interested in going a little bit more deeply into this idea of following your heart, following your intuition, and using divine guidance more effectively in your life. And again, when deciding on any particular technique or practice or course, we would again lovingly invite you to just use your heart, your intuition, and just really allow yourself to feel out whether that technique works for you. Because again, those inner feelings that you're feeling as you're connecting with those practices or assessing whether that works for you, that's a way for guidance to help guide you forwards. And that's your own unique signature telling you what you can use for your highest possible good. And so one of the main reasons why we always say that it's super important to follow your heart and to listen to your inner feelings is because it really helps to guide you forwards for your highest possible good. Okay, so another really important technique or concept or practice that can help to accelerate your own ascension process is to surrender. And this really flows on nicely from the previous idea of following your heart or following your intuition, because when we surrender, it can help us to just flow more easily and in alignment with creation. So a really good analogy to explain the practice of surrendering is to think of ourselves as just floating down a divine river. And basically when we're surrendering, we're just allowing ourselves to be very easily taken to where we need to be for our own highest possible good. So when we surrender, we're essentially just allowing ourselves to trust in that divine current, just knowing that we're already one with source creator energies. And we're just trusting that this beautiful divine river is going to be taking us to exactly where we need to be in any given moment. Now, we should also point out here that when we talk about the idea of surrendering, we're not saying that you should just do nothing. So surrendering is more of a state of being or an inner feeling that can help us to just flow with things more easily. So when we surrender and we really connect with this feeling within, it really can offer us a deep feeling of peace and contentment, and it can also promote a feeling of trust and acceptance in what we're being presented with in our life. And this can help us in lots and lots of different ways, but especially when we're facing things that we may perceive as being unpleasant or unfavorable to us. And this is really where a feeling of trust and surrender can also be very important and helpful. So another significant benefit of surrendering is that it can help us to become more open and receptive to receiving what we need from higher consciousness. So in the previous section, we talked about receiving guidance, and we said that our own inner feelings were like the language of this divine guidance. So when we surrender, we basically become more receptive to those feelings, and it becomes a little easier to listen to what's being offered to us from above. And for those of you who are doing any kind of higher consciousness-based healing work, surrendering also gives you the added benefit of being more receptive to the healing energies that you're calling on in your practice. So this is something that we talk more about as part of our energy-based healing courses through Love Inspiration. And so for anyone who is interested in doing some kind of meditation or healing work with higher consciousness energies, we would say definitely that the feeling of surrender is going to be very helpful and beneficial with those practices. So as a quick summary, when we cultivate a feeling of surrender, it can help us to just go with the flow as we feel a deeper sense of trust and acceptance in anything that's being brought into our life. It can help us to become more open to the guidance as we start to really listen and pay attention to that for our highest possible good. And it can also help us with our higher consciousness-based healing work as we become more open and receptive to what's being lovingly offered to us from above. Okay, so we now want to talk about another concept that can be really very helpful with the ongoing process of transformation, and that's mindfulness. So basically, if we can start to bring more mindfulness into our life, it can help us to become more aware of what's happening in our inner world. And because of that, it can help us to evolve and awaken more quickly and effectively. And again, there's quite a few different ways that you can incorporate mindfulness into your life. So let's just share a few quick examples here, and hopefully this can help you to start feeling the benefits of mindfulness on your own ascension journey. So the first way that we can cultivate mindfulness is by doing a simple mindfulness meditation. So for example, we can just sit quietly, say for around 10 or 15 minutes, and we just focus on observing our breath. Now we can focus on our breathing in a few different ways. For example, we can focus our attention on the area just below your nostrils, and then we just focus on the feeling of air coming in and out of our nostrils. Or alternatively, you can focus on your abdomen area, and the idea here is that you just keep on focusing on the rising and falling of your belly as you inhale and exhale. So whatever technique you decide on, as you're focusing on your breathing, you just want to allow yourself to be aware or mindful of your thoughts as they come and they go. And we're just observing or witnessing our thoughts. There's no judgment or any attachment or any aversion. We're simply observing, and we're becoming more mindful about what's happening in our inner world. So if you want to be guided through a simple meditation like that, you can find a guided mindfulness meditation as part of our beginners meditation course here on YouTube. And we'll leave a link to that in the description box below. And we should also just mention here that for those who are just starting out with this kind of meditation work, it's actually quite normal to be a little bit surprised about just how many thoughts you're having. This is precisely why a mindfulness practice can actually be very beneficial to you. Basically, it can help you to learn and understand the types of thoughts that you're having and the types of feelings that are arising from those thoughts. And then over time, we can also begin to realize that actually we're so much more than our thoughts. And a nice analogy for this is to think about our thoughts as being like waves or ripples on the top of the ocean. Our consciousness is the actual ocean itself, and our thoughts at surface level is just those waves on the top. And we would also just add to this that in addition to that basic technique of observing your breath, there's also other ways that you can incorporate mindfulness into your practice as well. So for example, we've noticed that some people like to apply mindfulness as they slowly scan through their body, just being mindful of any sensations within their body, and any thoughts that are arising as they sort of do that practice. And then there might be some people who have very busy or active minds, and these people might actually struggle with a pure mindfulness practice because they will often find maybe it's too difficult for them to just keep up with their own mind and just be mindful. So in this case, if you're someone who has a very busy or overactive mind and you're not really enjoying that style of meditation, then you might like to try working with mindfulness in conjunction with other practices. And we would suggest practices that can help you to feel more peace and relaxation. So just as an example, we often find that for those with very busy or active minds, they might enjoy the peace and relaxation of something like Reiki. And in this case, the Reiki energies can help to ease you into a deeper feeling of relaxation. And then when you're in that more relaxed state of being, it's often much easier for you to observe your thoughts. Or at least that's the general idea behind that sort of combined approach. And no matter which approach you choose, as you continue to progress and as you continue to become more comfortable with observing your inner world, you can then start to take the concept of mindfulness into your daily life in a way that feels right for you. And really this is where the concept of mindfulness really does shine, because it allows us to just be in the present moment more easily as we really just enjoy all that life has to offer. And again, there's lots of different ways that we can approach that, the practice of mindfulness and bringing that into our life. So for example, we've noticed that some people like to just take a few moments throughout the day just to tune into their breath and allow themselves to be in the moment. And this is normally obviously much easier for people who do it, that sort of breathing work in their daily practice. And in this way, it helps to bring their peaceful, meditative feeling into their daily life through that connection to breathing. And just as one final point here, we would just say that the concept of mindfulness can quite easily be applied to an energetic vibration or inner feeling in any given moment. So for example, if we're living out our daily lives, rather than tuning into your breath, you can just take some time to tune into yourself and just feel where you're at. Just feel your energetic vibration. How do you feel in that moment? Are you peaceful, or do you feel anxious or stressed? Are you feeling like you're approaching tasks with a sense of joy and calmness? Or are you finding that you're approaching things with frustration or anger? Maybe anger if something doesn't go your way. So by focusing on our vibration and by focusing on things that just make us feel good, this can be another way to apply mindfulness into our life. And you may have heard terms also like kindfulness or heartfulness, and these can also be wonderful ways to approach mindfulness and bring this into your life as well. So these are all examples of how you can use mindfulness in your life, and we hope that these can help you to become more aware of your inner world so that you can enjoy a deeper state of peace, love, joy, and happiness in your life. So maybe it's a good idea here just to do a quick recap of what we've covered so far. So at the start of the video, we started by talking about the importance of getting to know yourself. We then talked about the benefits of receiving higher consciousness-based healing or assistance. And we also spoke about the importance of doing a regular practice as well. And of course, you can interweave these together in a way that feels right for you. So after those tips, we then talked about the importance of following your heart or your intuition. And then after that, we talked about the concept of surrendering. And we said that both of those can be used in conjunction with one another. And then we've just spoken now about the significance or importance of mindfulness. And we've given you some examples about how you can use this technique as a way to get to know your inner world more effectively. And so now we're ready to move on to the next transformational tip, which is to start stepping into your own divine power through an understanding of really who you truly are. Okay, so there's lots of different spiritual teachings that say that within each of us lies the energies of Source Creator. And this really is such an important teaching, because not only can it help us to bring a very deep and profound understanding about who we really are, but it's also something that can help to bring us a strong feeling of self-empowerment into our life, which can often be really helpful for those of us who are doing this kind of ascension-based healing work. So in the past, we've heard some channels or mediums saying that the power that creates worlds is really what flows through you. And personally, I just really love this saying, because it helps to give a very tangible sense about just how much co-creative power that we all have access to. So basically, this teaching is telling us that we're all inherently divine. We're all limitless and eternal in nature. And there's lots of different words or phrases or terms that are used to describe this. Some people might say source, or creator, or God. Others might prefer words like awareness, or consciousness, or chi, or prana, and so on. But at the very core of all of these words lies the super important teaching that we are all one interconnected consciousness. And again, there's many different words that we can use to describe this phenomena, depending on our own religious or spiritual beliefs. And to us, this teaching of oneness or interconnectedness really is one of the most profound spiritual teachings, because if we can take some time to really digest or embrace this in our life, it can help us to start seeing ourselves in a very, very different way. We really are so much more than just a physical body. And if this teaching is something that you are perhaps interested in exploring more deeply, then a very simple starting point can be to just ponder the idea and just allow yourself to see how it feels for you. You are not different from Source Creator energy, and just sit with that for a bit. And as you do this, you might like to think about your higher self or your soul or your spirit as vibrating with that pure Source Creator energy. And that energy is always flowing through you as a divine being. Even your physical body is an instrument that can be used to channel or radiate these pure Source Creator energies into the world in any given moment. So we can just sit with this type of thinking, and again, just really allow yourself to feel it out. And for us, an even better way to approach this would be to combine that sort of contemplation with some kind of higher consciousness-based healing practice. So for example, the basic idea here is that you would call on some kind of higher consciousness energy source to help you, bring you to a state of peace and relaxation. And when you're in that space of connectedness, it's very natural to feel the energies flowing through you. And at that point, it's often much easier and more effective to start pondering or contemplating your own divine nature, whilst you're in that connected or peaceful state of being. And if you're someone who has more of a left-brained approach to life, then you might find it beneficial to maybe check out some of the experiments that have been conducted through quantum physics or quantum mechanics. So as a starting point, you might like to check out the double slit experiment, as this can help to give you a bit of foundation and support to the idea that actually things aren't as solid as you may think. And if that sounds interesting to you, we should also mention here that as part of the Love, Inspiration, Ascension Pathway teachings, we do introduce quite a few of these sort of oneness experiments in the hope that we can encourage people to really start exploring this idea more and more. So if you're interested in that, then you can check out the Ascension Pathway ebooks on the Love Inspiration website as you wish. And the Ascension Pathway energies can also be another wonderful way to really help you to feel more oneness or source energy in your life. So basically, by opening up to these Ascension Pathway energies, it can firstly help you to vibrate with these very pure and elevated energies, which is great. But it can also help you to clear away many layers of your own inner or vibrational debris, which also can very naturally help you to feel and connect more with that pure source creator energy that vibrates within you. For us personally, we like to infuse the teaching of oneness or interconnectedness with our own mantra meditation practice. For us, we feel like the Maitri Dharma mantras provide a very strong energetic basis or foundation for doing that kind of contemplation work. Hopefully we can put together a mantra meditation video series in the future so that we can help people to connect with mantras in a way that feels right for them. But for now, we would just say that we personally like to use the Maitri Dharma mantras, and we like to combine this practice with an understanding of oneness or interconnectedness. And when we do this, it helps us to more easily merge with those higher consciousness energies or deities that we're connecting with. And secondly, it can help to bring a much more expansiveness and vastness into our practice. And for those who might prefer to use more of a breathing-based meditation approach, you can also use this breathing meditation, and you can connect with that oneness contemplation as well. So the basic idea here is just to become aware of your own breathing as a first step. And then as you're breathing, you just want to allow yourself to really feel the emptiness of the breath as you inhale and you exhale. And you really just connect with the idea that you are interconnected with everything through that sort of eternal breath. Now, this is not a practice that we really have gone very deeply into ourselves, but as we understand it, you really want to just feel the flow of the breath, and you're using that as a way to connect with all living beings throughout all space and all time. And just knowing that when you're doing that practice, you're part of something bigger than just yourself, and you're just using your breathing to sort of tap into that vastness and expansiveness. So in addition to that, there's obviously lots of different ways that you can connect with the teaching of oneness or interconnectedness. And in that way, there's many ways that you can connect with your own power. For us, just as long as the technique you're using is helping you to really feel and connect with the idea that you are not different to source, creator, or God energy, and that we are all one interconnected energy source or awareness. So that's really the key. And just as a side note here, one thing that we've noticed on our own journey is that many of us struggle with self-worth issues. So this can manifest in a variety of different ways, but it can often be helped with an understanding of who we really are. So in other words, rather than seeing ourselves as just our thoughts or our emotions or our limiting beliefs, it's possible that we start to move to a place where we see ourselves as a pure, limitless, eternal energy source. And then very naturally, this can help to uplift our perspective about ourselves, which can quite often help with anything that's related to self-worth issues. And then as we continue to explore and accept and embrace this concept, it can also help us to understand that we are all divine co-creators of our own reality. Quite literally, our thoughts and feelings become things over time. And if we zoom out a little bit and we look at the world as a whole, and especially if we look through the lens of us all being divine co-creators of our own reality, I think most of us would agree that I think we're all feeling like we're ready for something brighter and happier and more joyful. And so when each of us more deeply understand just how powerful we are, and as we all start to live more and more in those higher and happier energetic vibrations, then this is going to very naturally mean that we all start to co-create a happier and more joyful and more peaceful world for us all to enjoy and benefit from. Okay, so we've just been talking about stepping into our own power, and we've been saying that we can basically do this more effectively by understanding our own inherently divine nature. So something else that's really going to help us with stepping into our own power is to use our own intentions. And our intentions can be used in a way that can really propel us forwards. So in other words, if we're cultivating expansive intentions, then this is going to really help us awaken and ascend much more quickly and effectively. Now, we did touch on this very briefly as we were talking about our own personal mantra practice, but let's now go a little bit more into detail about the intention and the power of intention. Because when we expand our intentions, it really can supercharge our own transformation. So perhaps the best starting point for this topic is a beautiful little teaching that comes from the Qigong tradition. And it basically says something like, where your mind goes, energy flows. And this is a super important principle. And there's actually lots of different applications or ways that we can use this teaching to help us on our own ascension journey. This beautiful little teaching also aligns very nicely with other spiritual teachings that we've seen. And these all seem to be saying the same thing. Basically, you're always going to be receiving energetic assistance in direct proportion to the width and the purity of your own intention. So let's just unpack that a little bit more, because this really is a very, very powerful concept that we can use to really do very deep and significant inner transformation work. So for example, let's again continue to use our higher consciousness-based healing practice as an example to demonstrate how this would work. And let's just say that someone is connecting with the Reiki energies and they're doing this through their own meditation practice. Now, we would normally recommend, as part of the Reiki course, setting your intention at the beginning of your Reiki practice. So in this case, let's just say that a person starts their practice with an intention like, I call on these energies to help me clear away all of my healing issues. And like all meditation practices, the Reiki energies are now going to respond to this intention. And so this person is now going to start receiving all the energies they need to clear away all of their healing issues, which is great. Now, we should also just point out here that this intention is totally valid. It's a fantastic healing intention. And if that intention feels right for you, there's just nothing wrong with setting that kind of intention in your Reiki work. But let's now just say that that same person wishes to widen or make their intention more expansive. So let's say that rather than just asking for help with their own issues, they instead choose to ask to receive healing energies which can help to clear away the issues of everyone on earth. Maybe something like, may I be a divine healing channel to heal all of the issues for every single person, including myself. Something like that. Now, you might have noticed that the second intention is much more expansive. And because of that, this wider and more expansive intention is always going to help us receive much more higher consciousness assistance and energy in our practice. So again, we're always going to receive energetic assistance in direct proportion to the width and the purity of our intentions. And so we always like to recommend playing around with your intentions so that you can really feel this out for yourself. For those who might be sensitive to energy, or for those who are connecting with higher consciousness-based healing practices, then try playing around with some of those different types of intentions and just allow yourself to see if they feel any different for you as you're setting them and as you're receiving energies. Now, we would also just like to point out that the types of energies you're connecting with does seem to play a role in this as well. So, for example, we mentioned that in our own personal practices, we're working with the Maitri Dhamma mantras, and these energies really do seem to support very expansive and all-encompassing type intentions. Things like may all beings benefit, or for the benefit of all beings, and so on. So if we're able to continue setting these kinds of expansive intentions, whether that's in our daily practice or whether it's as we're going about our daily life, it means that we're going to continue receiving very expansive energies from above. And that's going to be incredibly helpful on an individual level in very profound ways, but it's also going to be helping the collective consciousness more significantly as well. So we should also just say that for those who might just be starting out on their journey, we're not recommending just going out and setting super expansive intentions without including yourself. Like anything in life, we need to gently build up to those more benevolent and altruistic intentions in a step-by-step way. So as an example, if you're a beginner, you might like to start by asking for what you need, and then at the end of your intention, you could just add something like, so I can benefit all beings, or for the benefit of all beings, or anything like that. So that kind of intention is really going to help you as a beginner because, well, firstly, you're going to be asking for what you need, which of course is very, very important. You're also part of all beings, and so it's definitely appropriate and very natural that you yourself want to be happy. I mean, we all do. But this kind of dual intention is also asking higher consciousness, those energies to flow through you as a divine healing channel for all beings to benefit from, which actually is a very expansive intention. And because of that extra add-on, the energies that you're going to be receiving from that kind of intention is always going to be very beneficial, both for yourself and for the collective consciousness as well. And as we've said, these types of intentions do work really nicely when we're connecting with any kind of higher consciousness based healing practice, whether that's Reiki or working with mantras or working with a guru. But you can also use intentions through things like prayer or saying affirmations. And this is another way that you can sort of connect in with a higher consciousness or source energy in a way that feels right to you in any given moment. Okay, so in almost every spiritual tradition, one of the central themes or concepts is that of unconditional love. Now, there are many different ways that we can think about this. So for example, I remember meeting someone in Nepal who used to tell me that God is love and love is God. And in different spiritual traditions or teachings, it's often said that the very fabric of our reality is unconditional love. And I also remember my own Reiki teacher telling me all the time that any kind of illness or disease in the body is always at the ultimate level caused by some kind of lack of love. So all of this is just to say that the concept of love or unconditional love or loving kindness is extremely important for any kind of spiritual or personal transformation journey. And if you're interested in bringing more love or feeling more unconditional love or kindness in your life, then there's basically two main ways that we can approach this. So firstly, we can think about this from the perspective of loving ourselves more fully and completely, as this is a very important part of any awakening or ascension journey. And then secondly, we can also start to think about how to share or radiate our love and kindness with others. And as we go deeper into this concept, and especially as we merge with the teaching or understanding of oneness or interconnectedness, we begin to realize that there's some sort of relationship between loving ourselves and loving others. So for example, the more we can love ourselves more completely and unconditionally, the more likely it's going to be for us to have more and more experiences of love showing up in our own reality. You know, after all, the outer world is just a reflection of the inner world. And also, the more we feel into the energy of love within ourselves, the more easy it seems to be to allow this feeling of love to flow to others. Now, of course, there may be times when we need to deal with someone who we may feel is a little challenging. Perhaps this person has a lack of love within themselves, and so they project those hurts or pains onto you and others. And so even if we have a nice feeling of love within ourselves, it can also be beneficial to work with various techniques that can help us to continue being loving and kind to others, no matter what the situation is. So as a basic starting point, for those who want to do a guided meditation on loving kindness, you can find a short meditation as part of our free meditation course here on YouTube, and we'll leave a link to that in the description box below if you're interested in doing that meditation. So basically, this loving kindness meditation is going to be guiding you through the process of sharing love and kindness with yourself and then others. including those who you may have some difficulty with. And if you decide to do that kind of meditation regularly, let's say once a day for 21 days, then there really can be lots of internal benefits that can come from doing this as a regular practice. So for example, not only can this short meditation help you to feel a little spark of love and kindness for yourself and others, which is great, it can also help you to start seeing or understanding some of the reasons why maybe you don't love yourself or others, which is also very important. During this practice, maybe you might encounter some outdated beliefs within yourself that are trying to tell you that maybe you're not worthy, or you're not good enough, or you're not lovable. These are what we refer to as limiting beliefs, and they're actually very good at getting in the way of you loving yourself and others. And the reason why we bring this up here is because we just want to remind everyone that the process of loving ourselves, well, it's exactly that. It's a process. So that basic meditation can be a good first step. And then for those who want to speed up that process of feeling more love or more unconditional love within themselves, then we would definitely recommend checking out the Love Inspiration Free Ascension Pathway teachings, or any of our supporting energy-based healing courses like Reiki. All of these are free to receive, and for those who are interested in these, again, we'll leave some links in the description box below. So the reason why we're recommending these higher consciousness-based healing courses for anyone who wants to feel more love in their life is basically because these courses are going to be offering you a series of energies and attunements from higher consciousness. And basically that's going to be filling you up with these elevated states of love and light and joy. And in this way, it can often be a much faster way to help you to feel a more deep sense of love, peace, and happiness in your life. And of course, in addition to the Love Inspiration offerings, there's many different spiritual teachers all over the world who are sharing really good information about how you can fill up your own energy field with a deep feeling of love, compassion, kindness, whether that's through your own thoughts, through your own meditation, through some kind of energetic activation or attunement. And in addition to all that, there's so many different techniques or ways that you can live your life in a way that shares love and kindness and compassion with others. So as always, we would suggest finding a technique or a number of techniques or a practice that works for you, that feels right for you, and really just helps you to feel more love, kindness, compassion, empathy, and joy in your life. Okay, so our final tip here is another super important one, and maybe especially relevant at this time as we continue to move through the process of ascension and awakening. So as we've moved through this little video series on the massive shift in consciousness, we've talked quite a bit about the concepts of releasing and letting go of old energies as we all continue to step up into the new consciousness energies and frequencies. And we've also said that as we're releasing these old energies from within, we will often move through a variety of temporary symptoms in what's commonly referred to as a healing crisis. And so basically, as all of this is playing out, it's always going to be beneficial for us to do what we can to remain in a positive or hopeful or trusting state of being wherever we can. Now, this one is definitely not easy, and in some cases, when we're purifying lots of different layers of old energies, maybe it's even impossible for us to stay positive in every moment. As we've said, this transition period is a process of slowly and gradually shifting our energetic vibration, and very naturally there's going to be some bumps along the way. So most likely we're all going to be having some of those experiences in our life where things are just really, really challenging, or maybe you're moving through a period of time where things just go wrong all the time. Maybe you'll be moving through some kind of illness or disease. Maybe there's a whole bunch of things happening all at once, which is just overwhelming. So whatever the case may be, It can be helpful if we can somehow find a way to stay positive or hopeful or trusting. But again, this one is super difficult to master, so please do try to be as gentle and patient and loving with yourself as you can. So we just want to talk a little bit about this more now to help you to feel more positivity in your life. So for example, let's say that something goes wrong. Maybe it's some kind of external situation or circumstance that doesn't go the way we want it to. It's very easy to allow ourselves to dwell on that thing in the mind. And as we do this, what we're doing is we're essentially flooding our energy system with lots of different lower vibrational thoughts or emotions or feelings. And again, this is very natural, it's totally fine. But also, if we can somehow find a way to feel better about these situations, to help us to feel more positivity and feel this in a lighter way, this is going to be very beneficial. And there's lots of different ways that actually we can do this and we can approach this sort of work. But maybe the easiest example to help demonstrate this is a very basic technique, and we like to call it the attitude of gratitude strategy. So, for example, if something goes wrong, then rather than focusing on the thing that actually went wrong and continuing to focus on that, we try to shift our focus or attention onto things that we feel genuinely grateful about. And when we do this, it can really help us to stay in a more positive and vibrationally uplifted state of being. So when trying to find things that you feel grateful about in the moment, it really can be the simplest of things. It's just important that these are things that you really do feel grateful about, because that's going to help you to tap into the feeling or vibration of gratitude. And then whenever things get challenging and your inner world feels like it's in need of some uplift, then this list of things that you're grateful about can essentially be a very simple but effective way for you to inject a series of uplifting vibrational frequencies into your consciousness to help get you through those difficult times. Now again, this is definitely not easy to do, and especially when things get really challenging. For example, you may find the mind just does not want you to be grateful at all. And just to be clear, we're not saying here that this one technique alone is going to help you to always stay in a positive state of being. Instead, what we're trying to do here is to use the example of gratitude to help demonstrate that you are essentially always free to choose what you focus your attention on. In this case, we're focusing our attention on things that we feel genuinely grateful about. And that's going to help us feel more positive, simply because that's what we're choosing to focus our attention on. It does almost sound too simple to work, but it really does work. So also earlier on in the video, we talked about the power of intention, and we said that where the mind goes, energy flows. So in this example, we're basically saying that you can amplify the energy of gratitude within yourself simply by focusing on things that you feel grateful about. And whilst this is just one example of how we can use our mind to feel more positive internally, there are also other techniques that we can use to help us feel more positive and happy as well. Some of these are similar to the attitude of gratitude technique that we just talked about, but there's also other techniques that we can use as well that are a little bit different. So for example, another simple strategy that we can use when we're facing something that is very challenging in our life, or any time when we're feeling something a little heavy or dense within, is just to try and focus on doing things that help us feel good. Again, this is a very simple approach, but natural fact, when we focus on activities that make us feel good, especially those activities that make you feel good in the heart, this can help to really uplift your vibration very quickly and effectively. And as another example, if you're facing something that you feel is very challenging in your life, another technique that you can use is more of a wisdom or an understanding based approach. So just as an example of this, the basic idea here is that we're using our emotions or the external circumstances as a feedback mechanism. And this is all based on the idea that we're all divine co-creators and that our outer world can often be a reflection of our inner world. So basically, if we can start to embrace the idea that the external circumstance that's being presented to us, is there for some kind of reason, or if we can embrace the idea that we're always being divinely guided on our journey, and if we can really start to believe that even the most difficult or challenging situations can be helpful for us in some way, and whether that's to learn or to grow, or maybe just to release old energies from within, then this type of thinking can help us to approach these very difficult or challenging situations in a more positive and uplifting way. So in our own personal experiences, there's often been very good reasons why challenges have been brought into our life. As we understand it, even the most advanced practitioners have challenges that they need to face and confront and overcome in their life. And so if you're someone who is facing something difficult at the moment and you feel that it's very challenging for you, then we would invite you to try and look at that circumstance or situation in the most positive way, if that's possible for you in the moment. So for example, is there something that you can learn about yourself from this situation? Could there be a reason why this is appearing in your life at the moment? Is this something that's helping you to clear away old energies from within? Is it helping you to clear away some karmic debris? Could this be some kind of catalyst that's here to help guide you into new direction? Is this situation manifesting so that you can more clearly see what you don't prefer in your life? Maybe you can think about this as being here to help you fine-tune what you are co-creating in your life. So as we all continue to move through this shift in consciousness, this transition period, it's very natural, again, that we're all going to be fluctuating between these old consciousness energies and the new consciousness energies. And so as you're continuing to be uplifted into these higher and more harmonious states of being, we would recommend just giving yourself plenty of leeway, knowing that it's just totally fine to drop down into some of those lower vibratory states as your journey continues. And we'd also recommend embracing the idea that mistakes and missteps, they're all part of the journey. So in fact, mistakes can be very valuable in helping us to learn and grow and evolve. And so in this way, we can even view mistakes in a very positive and uplifting way. And we should also mention here that as this ascension process continues, it's also very natural just to need time to observe your outer world and your inner world, observing how you react to various circumstances. And then slowly over time, say over some months and some years, we can start to become more aware of the types of emotions we're feeling, the types of inner vibrations that we're creating for ourselves. And we can slowly but surely move towards those higher vibratory states of being. And also, when we're facing difficult circumstances, another way that we can look at this or think about this is that it's a great chance for us to do some self-inquiry or some inner work. Whenever we feel some kind of negative emotion, it can often be a signal that something may be out of alignment at the moment. And so challenging situations and so-called negative emotions, they can also help us to more deeply understand some of the root issues or driving forces behind those heavier or denser states of being. And as we mentioned earlier in the video, the more we learn about our own inner workings and the more aware we become about our own patterns, then this can help to make it easier to heal and release these from our own consciousness so we can start to move into lighter and happier states of being. And so again, we would say that for all of these reasons, when we're facing challenging circumstances or difficult emotional states, these can actually be a fantastic teacher in many different ways. These situations can help us to more quickly evolve and transform ourselves because they can help to show us what needs to be worked on in any given moment. Or at least if we can think like that, then it can help us to approach these difficult or challenging situations with a little bit more positivity or trust or hopefulness. Okay, so hopefully you've got some value out of these 10 transformational tips. As we understand it, the massive shift in consciousness is going to be continuing to play out for the foreseeable future here on Earth. And so we hope that this little video series about this shift in consciousness can help to give you some value in the years to come. We hope that your journey forwards into these beautiful new conscious energies is a smooth, happy and fulfilling journey. And may you continue to be guided into very deep and profound states of love and joy and peace in your life. So thanks for being with us for this video series. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again in future videos.